We have Javokhir Sindarov already here, and he shakes hands with Aravindh Chidambaram. What a clash we have on our hands. Arvind Chidambaram, one of the most creative players in the world of chess, takes on the man in form, the man in the lead in the tournament, Javokhir Sindarov, the winner of the FIDE World Cup 2025 and also the one who has made it to the candidates. This is going to be a big one. In the background, you can see the FIDE president Arkady Dvorkovich there. And the players are ready. A handshake. Arvind has the white pieces. He kind of zones himself in for the first move. And let's see what he plays. He plays pawn to d4 here. And Sindarov responds back with d5. It's going to be a very, very exciting clash because definitely both of them want to win here. Pawn to c4 by Arvind. And Arvind has been coming to this tournament with some new and daring opening ideas. We have the Queen's Gambit declined here. The knight comes out to f3. And now the knight to f6. And you can play pawn to g3 to play the Catalan, but knight c3 played. Here. And c6. Ooh, we have the semi-Slav on the board. And that always leads to fun games. And Arvind plays the g3 variation. He's going for Catalan with knight to c3. And the inclusion of these moves, which means that he's not really concerned about winning back his pawn on c4. Bishop g2 played here by Arvind Chidambaram. And now white castles. Oh, black takes. White castles here. And Sindarov goes bishop e7. It's also possible to go b5 straight away and play bishop b7. But bishop e7, a4. Now you stop b5 for the time being. Black castles. And Arvind can move his pawn to e4. That's what he does. He gains space in the center. His dream would be to play queen e2 to take on c4. But b5 instantly played. And what Sindarov is saying is that you take, I'll take here. If you take on b5, I'll take on e4. This seems to be all opening prep, cb5. But now e5 is the best move. He plays it. And if knight d5, I'll take knight takes b5. Yes, he plays knight d5. And takes, knight takes on b5. And black goes bishop b7 maybe. Yes, bishop to b7. Let's take stock of the position. White structure is great, has space, d6 square slightly soft, c4 pawn is a weakness, a7 pawn you can't win it right now because queen b6 would trap the knight. But all in all, it does seem like white has more trumps than black. c4 pawn once again attacked. So he plays pawn to a6, pushing the knight away. And now knight comes back to c3. You can take on c3, attacking the queen, and then take on g2 as well. Pawn takes c3, and look at white structure. Very powerful. Bishop takes bishop. And king takes on g2. Sindarov gets his other knight to d5 as soon as he can. And this is a very interesting position because white has like these nice pawns, but knight also jumping into e4. He's eyeing these squares. a6 could be weak, c4 could be weak, but black has the d5 square. c3 is a weakness. It's a mixed position here. Pawn to a5 played. This a pawn, by the way, While it does look weak, it's also a passer. So you mustn't forget that. And queen comes to g4. Well, ideally, you want to get rid of the dark square bishop as white so that later your knight can get these squares. You can also go with the ideas of h4, h5, h6. He tucks his king into the corner of the board, and a nice move, bishop a3 by Aravindh, because if bishop takes bishop, you can take back with the rook. So he does take. Rook takes on a3, and then you bring your other rook to put pressure here. Queen to c7, quickly played here by Sindarov. I wonder how white would try to put pressure here in this position. So many possibilities. He goes rook b1, which is also very logical because Aravindh doesn't want to put pressure on a pawn. He wants to use the b file to get in. For example, knight d5. He can go knight d6 and then rook b7 is threatened. But he goes queen c6, pinning the knight. Our normal move is king g1, just coming out of the pin. And that looks good. But Aravindh is Aravindh. He goes king h3. And I'm pretty sure Javokhir Sindarov is a bit surprised here with this last move, king h3, which Aravindh basically has played to get out of the pin. And maybe he doesn't want back rank issues at some point, checks and so on. Very deep. Knight d5 played by Sindarov. The position is equal now, but anything can happen. So much possibilities here. And Aravindh now jumps in with his knight to d6. So he's gotten his knight into the heart of the position. He's eyeing the f7 pawn. He's also maybe eyeing rook b7 here. Rook to a7 played. And now there's a nice draw that can be made. Rook a5, knight f7. So if rook f7, rook b8 is game over. King g8 and you can repeat and make a draw. But I believe that Aravindh also wants to try here. Both players want to play for a win. And Sindarov is ready to push. Ooh, f5 on the board. If you play ef6 here, then just queen d6 and notice how the rook here defends the g7 pawn. So you can't do opposite. He goes queen g5, queen h5. It's a mistake. Queen g5 was better. Keeping an eye here on g7 point. That's the main point here. Queen h5, and now you can literally at this point push your pawn to a4. So the thing is, with queen g5, a4, you could take, threaten a checkmate here. Rook g8 is met with knight f7. But with queen h5, you can't do that. So a4 pushed. Now you can't take here. And that gives white an advantage. That gives black an advantage. Aravindh goes rook c5. His position getting worse. Move by move. Queen a8, an important move to be played. Can't go queen d7 because rook takes c4 is hanging. But to queen a8, the thing is, now if you play rook takes c4, then knight b6 hits the rook. And if you come up, I have queen h1 and suddenly queen f1 check with h6 g5 coming in. It's a huge attack. It's a mating attack. So he does play h6 first, which is also good. Knight b6 and queen h1 was also nice. h6 is also pretty good. And Sindarov has a winning position now. He's got Aravindh's audacious idea with king h3 is going to backfire here. So he goes h6. Knight b6, h6, both were winning. And now he comes back queen e2. And g5, a must. And the thing is, with the rook on f file, yes, he plays g5 and the other rook going to g7. This king is utterly toasted. f3. And now just h5 with the idea of g4. It's very powerful. He goes f4, which is also very interesting. I mean, you can't take knight f4 check and you lose the queen. So rook c5 played. And now h5, very powerful move with the idea of g4. He goes knight e3. Maybe not the best. c4 played. And rook g7. He plays d5, trying to block this queen's path. Queen a7. The queen says, I'll find a new path. Knight jumps back to e4. And h5. Whoa, nice move. And Aravindh is in big trouble. 6 minutes left to make 7 moves, while Sindarov has just 2 minutes 13 seconds. He takes back. Even g4 was possible. Rook takes e3, fe3 instantly taken. By the way, queen f7 was also a possible move, threatening queen f5 and rook g8. But anyway, he takes here queen e3, rook g6 on the board. Also possible again was queen f7. And now Aravindh, he knows that the only chance he has is to play on his opponent's time pressure. Knight f6, he plays it in. And maybe some ideas do exist here. The queen, the knight is close in. f4 maybe, he takes on d5. But a3, Sindarov down to 1 minute on the clock. He needs to make 2 more moves. 2 more moves and he should be fine. And then he can win this game if he's better. Aravindh can go into a bad endgame with rook a3. But he goes queen e4. He's going all out. Either it's a win or a loss. Rook takes f6 is the move. Sindarov has 56 seconds. Oh, it's amazing how the climax of this game has come at a time when Sindarov has just 30 seconds in hand. He's trying to calculate it through and he takes it with 22 seconds. ef6 and now last move. And the last move, queen takes rook, is winning. But he goes a2, a blunder. He blunders it. And this is the chance that Aravindh Chidambaram wanted. This is the chance that he wanted. And now queen g6. Now Sindarov has all the time in the world. But unfortunately, and you can see Aravindh getting up from the board. He's like, let me just make sure 40 moves are done. Takes the new score sheet. By the way, queen takes c5 was winning because queen g6 is the move that Sindarov would have been afraid of. But in comes a check. King h4. By the way, anytime you go to the g file, rook g8 wins. But king h4, queen c4 check. If king h3, I have queen f1 check. So you must take queen d5 check, king h4, and well, at the very least I have queen f7 and it's game over. So if he took the rook, I think Aravindh had nothing there, but he played a2 and now Aravindh has everything. He just goes queen g6 with an unstoppable draw there, and there is nothing he can do because the threat is queen h6 here. If you make a queen, it doesn't help because check, 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 check. And you can see Sindarov there. Well, he takes the queen in his hand. Is he going to make a queen? Yes, he does. Queen there. And now it's just a draw. And it's so unfortunate because he would have won the game there, Sindarov. And now a draw is agreed between the players. And he says just queen takes c5. He just shaking his head. Queen takes c5. If queen g6, king h4. He shows the entire line. Queen f1. But it was time trouble. He had just 20 seconds on his clock. And he couldn't find the move. And Aravindh also knows it. And he's like, yeah. He dodged a bullet. Javokhir Sindarov so upset there. Missing a huge opportunity. And Aravindh Chidambaram, well, he escapes with a draw. He played there. He played risky chess. And he could have really paid for it. But, well, Kaisa was kind today. And it also speaks a lot about Aravindh's abilities to confuse the position. He did it to the best in the business. He did it against Sindarov, and you can see Sindarov, who's usually so upbeat and chirpy, doesn't have much to right now say. He's not happy with the result of the game.